All right, today we're going to do chapter 11, lesson 8, which is all about line plots. I'm going to show you a little bit on here, and then we're going to head over to the quizzes because you'll be doing your work there today. But line plots are just a way of showing you how many times something has occurred, how many times something has happened, okay? So if you look at this example 1, we have 6 friends shared several foot-long submarine sandwiches. The table shows the amount each friend ate. So we're going to take this information and make a line plot out of it. So it's going to be a little bit of going back and forth here, but let's look and see. 1/3 of a foot was used 1, 2, 3 times. So 3 friends ate 1/3 of a foot. So you just come down to 1/3 and you try to draw the best X's that you can. Again, the computer is not my friend here when it comes to the pen, but we'll do the best we can. So we have 3 friends ate 1/3 of a sandwich, okay? Now we finished with this one. Sometimes this is what I would like to do, just so I don't get confused and accidentally reuse a number. Just mark them off. Okay, then I see 2 that are quarters, 1/4. So I'm going to come down here, and on 1/4, I'm going to put X's, 2 of them because there were 2 friends. Okay, then I'm going to come back up and I have 1 left, and that's just 1/2. So I'm going to mark 1/2 here. Okay, so now we can clearly see that 3 people ate 1/3 of the sandwich, or 1/3 of a foot, I should say. 2 people ate 1/4 foot of sandwich, and 1 person ate 1/2 foot of sandwich. Okay, so that's very clear to see here. Now, that's really a lot of what we're doing today, but then also there's a different part of this where they want to know how many total feet of sandwiches were there that they shared. So we look over here and we try to make as many whole numbers as possible. And this is where it gets a little bit confusing, so you got to really try to stay with me here. If I look over here and I say, wait, there's 3/3. 3/3 equals a whole. So that's 1 whole foot right there. And then I look over here and go, wait, if there's 1/2 of a sandwich here and 2/4 make 1/2, then 1/2 and 1/2 makes another foot. So how many total pieces or how many total feet of sandwiches were there? Well, there were 2 feet worth of sandwiches. Okay. Now, just to get a little more complicated, and this is not going to be on the quizzes part. This total part is, but this other thing I'm showing you is called fair share. It's not on quizzes, but it's something interesting for you to know. If I have 2 total feet of sandwiches, that's going to be my numerator, and my denominator is going to be how many people shared it. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I do 2 divided by 6, we know that I can just simplify this to 1/3. If everyone had gotten their fair share, everyone should have gotten 1/3 of a foot of a sandwich. But you can see here, maybe like these people are like me and I don't eat a lot, so I only needed 1/4 of a sandwich. And this person's like one of my teenage boys, they eat a lot, so they ate 1/2 of a sandwich, right? So that's okay, but if we're talking fair share, then this is what they all should have gotten. Everyone should have gotten 1/3 of a foot. Okay, now let's head over to our flashcards. And our flashcards, we're only going to go through some of them because some are amazingly easy. You're going to love them. And then some are a little more challenging. But I want to go through them so you just know how to do this. Now remember, when you're doing the quiz, the actual quiz, there's going to be some that have boxes that are so small you can't see them. So if you go down in this bottom corner, you'll see something that says zoom. And it'll make it so you can see everything exactly the size you need it to be. So don't forget to use that zoom button. All right, so this is one of the examples of something that was easy. So how many students had more than 6 candy bars? All you have to come over here and do is count the people in the 6s, the 7s, and the 8s. So there's 2 here, 1 more here, that's 3, 4, 5. That's your answer for that one. So that's why I'm saying some of these are very easy. I'm going to go to a harder one now. Okay, now I wouldn't say this one was harder, but I want to go over it just so you understand what's happening here. The line plot starts down here at 88%. It ends up here at 100%. But because you can see nobody's in this 100 column, nobody's in the 99 column, question is, what's the highest score in the class? Well, obviously nobody got a perfect score, but they got the 98, right? So that would be the highest score in the class. And just to clarify, we have one here. How many of the rings are 1/2 carat or more? When it says something like that, it says 1/2 or more. Make sure you also include 1/2. So you would add up this plus this. Okay, now this is where it gets a little bit harder. This is like the one we were working on a minute ago on the other math page. They want to know the weight of all of these diamonds. So the best thing to do is get as many whole numbers as you possibly can. So I always like to start with the biggest values. So if I can see here, I have 3 holes. So I'm going to cross those off and write a 3 over here because I know I'm going to have 3 holes. And this just lets me know that I already used it. Then I come over, the next one is halves. Great, halves are really easy. And I've got 2 halves here, which make a whole. And I have 2 more halves here. That makes 1 more whole. So already I've used most of the numbers and it was pretty painless, right? All right, so 2 quarters I know make a half. So I'm just going to put half over the top of this just to make it a little easier. And then I look at this and I go, uh-oh, I have 2 eighths. Well, 2 eighths goes simplified to 1/4. Okay, so now this is really what I have here. I've got a half plus a quarter. Well, hey, I know that's 3/4. So now here are the total values that I have. I have 3, 4, 5, and 3/4. So your answer would be 5 and 3/4. And it doesn't say if we're talking pounds or ounces. I'm assuming it's not pounds since we're talking about weights of diamonds, okay? So 5 and 3/4. Okay, then on some of these, you have kind of a trick question. So how many days did it snow more than 4/8 of an inch? Well, 4/8 of an inch, gosh, would we normally call this 4/8 of an inch or would we call it half of an inch? We would call it half of an inch, but you can still answer that, right? All right, now we have what is the difference between the highest score and the lowest score on the test? Well, this was that same plot we had a minute ago, I think. There was no 100, no 99, but there was a 98, so that's our highest. And then you find your lowest, so you'll do 98 minus 88, and you can find the difference between the two. All right, now here's one where I definitely had to zoom in, but since we're on flashcards, I can't do that as well here. So it's asking you, Caroline spent something of an hour reading, and I cannot read that on my tiny little Chromebook. I think 2/3 possibly. So again, when you get to Zoom, or excuse me, when you get to the quizzes, make sure you can zoom in. So they want to know how many students spent less time reading than Caroline. And that part's easy enough for you to do, but I really wanted to point out, I can't read this. So if you can't read it, press Zoom, which again is over here in this corner, okay? All right, and on this last one, it's a little bit confusing, but you guys can do this. If all the students add their time together, how many hours do they spend reading each night? This is another one where you just try to combine as many things as you possibly can to get whole numbers. So I'll do the first part for you. I can't read this one right now, so that one's hard for me, but here I have 1/2. If I have 2 halves, I know that's going to be a whole hour, so I might write a whole hour over here, and then start going through and figuring out how many ways I can add up these numbers to make a whole number or really close to a whole number to get that final total of how many hours they read each night. All right, guys, good luck with this. Have fun.